Usual thing, have a go in your own time. I think I've stopped doing it, but previously I was writing up here, wasn't I, a reminder of which lesson it was, but it's going to say in the title. I think that's just going to go because I'm just going to forget. Anyway, here's my answer because obviously pause the video if you need some time. Two things multiplied together that make 0. One of them must be 0, so either x plus 3 is 0 or x plus 2 is 0. Are we happy with that? Which means that x is minus 3 or x is minus 2. We can do a bit more. We can do this like this, which I personally prefer. I do minus 3 to both sides, which then gives me x on its own and minus 3. Oh, look, there we go. So then I could have underlined that. Minus 2 to both sides, so that makes the 2 disappear because it cancels on the left. And then that gives me a minus 2 there. Yeah, there we go. That was fine. From now on, I'm going to actually do these steps, and I'd like you to do the same because it's just briefly to say, you might be thinking, oh, but I'm fine, I can do that in my head. Trust me, later you won't be able to do it in your head because it'll get more complicated. So we have to get used to that as a system so that we can then do harder questions. Have a go at this in your own time. X equals 0 and or y equals 0 and or z equals 0. There we go. Next. Have a go in your own time. See you back here in a minute. I can simplify. Simplify. That's 2x squared. I'm going to divide both sides by 2 just to get rid of that 2, so that's x squared equals 0. Oh, well I could square root both sides and that means that x equals 0. Ta-da! There you go. That's a way of doing that one. Have a go at this in your own time. I predict quite a few people did this wrong. Q minus Q cancels. So you've now got minus Q equals 30. Now, there's like a gazillion and one's ways of doing this. I think I would just times both sides by minus 1. That works. And then you've got Q equals minus 30. It is definitely legitimate just to say, oh, well, I can just flip the signs of both sides. And that's the way of doing it as well. Now, in case you didn't do this at the start, here, what if that was 10 minus 10 minus 10? Oh, well then 10 cancels the minus 10 and just leaves us a minus 10 afterwards. Okay, right. Next question. Have a go in your own time. Right, so the answer to this is x equals 100. I'm now just going to talk it through. What's the square root of 100? It's 10 because 10 times 10 is 100. And remember, there's an invisible times sign because there's two mathematical objects here with a space in between them, so there has to be a times because that's the only symbol with an invisibility cloak. What's the square root of 100? 10 equals x. Oh, so that's 100 equals x, and then just I always like to flip it so it's x equals, so the x is on the left. And the next question. Obviously, it's another solve. Well, not obviously. We're getting to that point of the lesson, aren't we, where we're going to move away from solve in a minute, but not quite yet. Have a go in your own time. By inspection, k equals 5. Not sure why. Let's just look at it. Oh, look, we've got an equals sign. So we've just got to compare what's on the right and the left. There's an 11, there's a plus, there's an x. There's only one thing remaining. That thing has to be the same thing, otherwise the equal sign isn't true. Therefore, k equals 5. And we've got another solve question. On this one, make sure I've got more than one equation. I'll let you know when I've finished. Have a go in your own time. I'm going to write out the answers, which are a equals minus 28, b equals 24, and c. Oh, I was searching for my answer to c. Of course, c is 4 because we've already been given it. Right, so if you want to check your answer, if you want to see how I did it, whatever, then you can watch me do it. Okay, so c is 4. I'm just going to combine these two equations. I don't really know what to do next. I'm just going to see what happens. A plus b plus 4 equals 0. Oh, I know what to do. I'm going to now make it look the same. There's a reason we've been drilling this, because it's such an important technique in maths. There's going to be other ways of doing this, but make it look the same is very effective here. I'm going to change that to be a plus b equals 20. Because obviously b plus b is the same as 2b. And then this equation here, I'm going to change it to be a plus b equals minus 4. Because what I'm going to do is minus 4 from both sides. Oh, look. Can you see what I've done? I've got a plus b and a plus b. So now I can rewrite, let's move this down a bit. I can now rewrite this as minus 4 equals b. This is when you're recording a video trying to think about a million things at once as well as do maths. I just get confused sometimes. Right, that's what you got, minus 4 because a plus b is minus 4, and you got the b and the 20 from before. I'm going to add 4 to both sides. Oh look, b equals 24. I think you can guess how we can get the a. We can just take anything with the a already. We already know, for example, we know that a plus b is minus 4. So let's just stick b into that. So that means that a plus 24 equals minus 4. Well, minus 24 from both sides. Then we end up with a equals minus 28. There we go. So we do that one. There's going to be other ways to do that. Well, it's a plot question. I'm happy to change that to a sketch. I'm going to change that to sketch. So you can do this really neatly, or you can just sketch it if you want. And we're going to talk, right, let's look at this. I'm going to give you the answer. Obviously pause the video, have a go in your own time first. Let me do the answer in a different color. That's basically what it looks like. Boom. If you're not happy with that, let's talk about a couple of things. The first thing is, very important, if you don't know how to do a graph, this is something I'm not 100% talking about in this series of lessons because we can't do everything in one series of lessons. But my rule for my students, I think for every student I've ever had, and this applies to me, this is my rule for me, is make a table if you're not sure and add one thing at a time. So, what if x is 0, then y is 0? Okay, so I can plot that point. What if x is, I don't know, 3? Oh, then y is 3, so I now can plot that point. What if x is minus 5? Oh, then y is minus 5. Oh, so that goes there. And then we kind of eventually get the hang of, okay, I'm starting to see a pattern here. It's a straight line. There we go. So if in doubt, draw a table, add the points to the graph, and then that's the safe way of drawing a graph. Factorize. So have a go in your own time. Can you factorize this? Or maybe it's not possible. Oh look, they both got an x. And that's it. Nothing else in common. So that's what that looks like factorized. Let's do the next question. This is a calculate. There's more than one. I'll let you know when I've written them all out. And then you can pause the video to have a go. And we have oh, and by the way, this isn't, you know where previously it's been like a row where it goes from 2 to 1 to 0 to minus 1 to minus 2. We haven't got that this time. I think if I just shift that up, we've just got space for one more. Have a go in your own time. And I've got a video on this, a bonus, there's a little bonus video on this, and again I have a lot more stuff on this in my other playlist related to my book, and you can find other teachers will have done stuff on this as well. Right, if you've got X, right, do you know what? I'm just going to write the answers first, and then we'll talk about them afterwards. Right, so if that kind of feels a bit awkward or whatever, I'm going to talk through some of my techniques and strategies, and there's a big picture here, which is suppose you've got X, and then it's to the minus, and then suppose there's a fraction, there's a number on top and there's a number on the bottom. That minus means flip, it means turn upside down. So as an example here, 1/5 turned upside down is 5/1, which we can simplify as 1, which simplifies 5. And this one here, you think, oh, well, that's minus 1. Why is there a 1? Well, what effect does the 1 have? Well, it doesn't do anything, does it? Because a 1 just leaves it the same, so it doesn't actually change it. Which begs the question, why do mathematicians always write -1? I don't know, actually. Bit of a mystery to me, but anyway, they do. Anyway, the number on the top means something like squared, or it might mean cubed, or something else. Depends on what the number is, yeah? So this one here, because this is 2, it means squared. So it means a fifth times a fifth, which is 1 times 1 is 1, and 5 times 5 is 25, because that's 8 times fractions. Just, we haven't got one here, but if there was or were a number on the bottom, then that would be something like might be a square root. If it were 2, or it might be a cubed root. If it were 3, or some other root. And just to look at the last one, remember that when we've got the list of like something squared, something to the 1, something to the 0, something to the -1, blah blah blah, remember that something to the 0 is always 1, so it's 1, because otherwise the pattern doesn't work. Got another calculate question here. That was supposed to be a 2 up there, by the way. Have a go in your own time, then I'm going to write the answers out. I'm going to start in the middle, that's obviously 1. If you do something to the power 1, it stays the same, doesn't change. If you do something to the power -1, you can ignore the 1 because nothing changes, and the minus flips it upside down. Flips it up the other way, so that's 5/3. Now, if you square something, you just multiply it by itself. So that's 9/25. And this one here, the 2 means multiply it by itself, and then the minus means flip. So we got 3/5 times 3/5. We haven't done the minus yet, so I'm going to put brackets and leave a minus. So that's 9/25, and I still haven't done the minus yet, which is 25/9. There we go. And for completeness, I just want to point out, you can do it in any order. So I could have said, well, that's the same as 5/3, because I'll do the minus straight away, squared. Doesn't matter which order you do them in. So that's 5/3 times 5/3, which is 25/9. Let's do the next question, which is a same to both sides. This time I'm going to capitalize it. I don't know, I just can't decide whether I should capitalize it or not. There we go. Have a go in your own time. Just to be careful, I'm just going to, it's plus, so I do it once to each side. Oh look, I can cancel those, -x plus x. What about here? The minus is attached to the 5, that plus is attached to the x, and we've got this x at the front, which means we end up with 2 x's, because you can combine those two, and then that minus is just attached to the 5. That's the final answer there. Let's do a factorised question. Have a go in your own time. Answer, not possible. You can't factorise it, because look, that's got an x, there's no x's on the other side. This has got a y, there's no y's on the other side. This has got a p, there's no p's on the other side. And that's a q, there's no q's on the other side. So there's nothing in common, we can't factorise it. Right, we've now got a bunch of calculate questions, so just, I'll write them all out. I'll let you know when I've finished. I've finished. Pause the video, have a go. I'm just going to run through 10, 10, 5, 900, 16x. Right. Happy with all those? Jump on to the next question, which by the way is the last one. Otherwise, let's look at it. That's 10 times 10 is 100. Square root is what times what makes that number. So, and remember the 2 just also means it's still a square root. That's also a square root. I think we're all right with that. Now this one here, suppose we didn't know that it was 9. That would be square root of 9 is 3, and the square root of 9 is 3. Ah, so that's 9. Now, to me, this is something that is potentially very confusing. What's the square root of 110? What's the square root of 110? 100. Same thing here. Oh, it's 4 times 4, which is 16. I don't think this... I think at some point, eventually, your brain goes, oh, I finally see why if you multiply square root of something times square root of the same thing, you end up with just that thing. You just need time for it to sink in, really. And if you've already got that, brilliant. Have a go in your own time. I don't think we've done this yet in any of these lessons. You may well have done it at school, or wherever you're learning maths, or on another YouTube video or something. Okay. I haven't used the word simplify before. No, I think I have. Anyway, it means tidy up, just to be clear. Right, let's do this. X times x is x squared. X times 2 makes 3. X times 3, sorry, makes 3x. 2 times x makes 2x. 2 times 3 makes 6. And then we can simplify that to make x squared plus 3x and 2x makes 5x plus 6. Okay. If you can't do that, go to my other playlist, find some help with it, or find some help somewhere else. It's just a thing that we'll need to know for some of the lessons later. Okay, see you in another lesson.